What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode of the Wood Rat, we are going to be building a sliding barn door kitchen island. This is one of my older models I've been building for a few years now, but it's a good one to start with because we're going to start going over some of the basics of cabinet making. How to put together a carcass, how to construct your face frames. We're also going to be fabricating our own sliding barn door hardware for this thing. And last but not least, we'll finish it off by gluing up our own solid wood 2x top to go on this thing. So yeah, let's get started. What I'm doing now is I'm preparing to cut out the top. I have two sheets here. I'm going to be able to cut my top piece and my side out of this one, and my bottom piece and a side out of that one, okay? Now the thing is, we're working with 3/4 plywood here, and my cabinet overall is going to be 60 inches, okay? But I want 1.5 inch overhang on both sides. So you're going to minus 3 inches from that 60-inch dimension. So you're at 57. But also the way we're putting this box together, okay, is that our ends are going to butt up to the top and the bottom. So we have to subtract that 3/4 dimension for the sides on both sides, which is actually 3/4 plywood is really truly 11/16. So, and you're going to times that times 2. You got 11/16 over here, and you got 11/16 over here. So collectively, that's 1 inch and 3/8. So we're going to minus 1 inch and 3/8 from our 57-inch dimension. Okay, and that's going to put us at 55 and 5/8. Now here's the other thing. We're getting ready to cut this. I'm going to cut this with my cordless Ryobi saw here. Okay. Now these saws, they all vary a little bit. When you get a saw and you start ripping things down, and you want to set up a makeshift fence, a straight edge to follow, if you don't want to do it freehand, because it can get a little shaky. You're going to want to measure from that blade to the edge of this saw, and on mine it's exactly 4 inches, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 inches to my 55 and 5/8 dimension. So it's going to put me at 59 and 5/8, okay? Now what I'm going to do is take my square, throw this on here, make my mark, take this piece of molding I have here, and I'm going to put that on there like that. I have 3/4 brads in my brad gun. I'm going to get right on the edge of that line there, and I'm going to nail that down. Okay. Now when I take this saw, because I went 4 inches over, I'm actually going to spin this plywood around. Okay. Okay, what I've done here is I've spun the board around. With me cutting right-handed, I obviously have to be on this side of my straight edge to cut on my line that I have marked. What I could have done to avoid having to spin the board around was I should have measured off of that end and come this way, and then I wouldn't have to spin the board around, but no big deal. And we're just going to And here's my top board. I'll pull this off here and I'll grab a pair of dice and pop these little brad nails out here. And then I'm going to follow the same procedure to cut a side out of this piece here, which is going to be, well, the item's going to be 36 inches tall, so we have to minus the 1 3/8 wood top that we're going to be putting on it. But all right, what we're doing here is we've cut out the top, the bottom, and the 2 sides. We're working on what they call the carcass of the island, okay? And all it really is a box at this stage. What we're doing is we're going to face frame the front of it, but we also want to trim out the back because this thing's going to show from the back. So, you know, I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch ply on the back, but I don't want the edge of that showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the top and the bottom about 3/16 shy from the sides, and then what I'll do is I'll cut a dado into the sides, and when all that goes together, that's going to leave me enough room to inset that 1/4 inch plywood on the back, which will allow me to trim it out so it looks great. Okay, you can see what I've done here. This is one of the sides, okay? And the top and the bottom are cut 3/16 narrower than these side pieces, okay? But what I've done here is I've taken and I've put a 3/16 rabbet on one side of this piece here. And what that does is with that top and that bottom being just shy of these and the rabbets being in the sides, it allows me to set that panel. It'll be set in all the way around so that I can trim it out and you'll never see the edge of that 1/4 inch panel. Okay, so what I've done here is I have on the top and the bottom pieces on the ends, I have put pocket holes on both ends here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put this box together. We're going to tack it together with some 18 gauge brad nails just to hold it securely while we run our pocket screws in there, and then we'll be all set with that. Okay, now that we have the main carcass assembled, what we're going to do now is we're going to measure in between these two so we can put our 2 dividers in here. Measure in between on the inside, and I got 33 1/8. So now we're going to cut 2 dividers that'll go right in here. Okay, so now what we got here, we have 2 dividers that are going to be going in here, okay? That's going to create 3 compartments. 2 will have doors on them, sliding barn doors, so that one can move over to here and back and here and back. So what we need to do now is we're going to take this inside dimension here. Alright, measure inside the plywood. We have 55 5/8. Okay? Now, we're going to minus the width of both of these pieces of plywood to determine what size to make our compartments. Remember what I said before, 3/4 plywood is not 3/4, it's 11/16. And 11/16 and 11/16 is 1 3/8. So we're going to minus 1 3/8 from 55 and 5/8, I believe we said. 55 and 5/8, okay? So it's going to be 1 inch is going to bring us down to 54 and 5/8, and minus 3/8 is going to bring us to 54 and 1/4, okay? We're left with 54 and 1/4. Now you're going to take that 54 and 1/4 and you're going to divide it by 3 because we're going to have 3 compartments. So 54 and 1/4 divided by 3 is 180833, okay? Easiest way to translate a lot of this too is to keep a decimal equivalent chart on your wall. You know, the basic ones are easy to remember, you know, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, okay? But sometimes you get things that are, you know, a little off and you can't memorize them all. You just can't. So go on the computer, download a decimal equivalent chart, and keep that on your wall. It'll be a tremendous help. This customer here asked for stationary shelves in the middle of each compartment. So what we're going to do next is we're going to be cutting some cleats that we're going to glue and nail to the sides here, and then we'll be cutting the shelves that will sit on top of the cleats. Okay, now that the shelves are installed on the unit, we're going to rip down some trim boards for the front of the shelves. And we're also going to go ahead while we're at it and cut down what we need to assemble a face frame for the front of the cabinet. Okay, what I've done here is I have cut down 5 pieces to, these are going to be our 2-inch stiles, and the bottom rail will be 2 inches. I actually cut them at 2 1/8. I'm going to run through the planer and clean them up. This right here is our top rail. I cut it to 3 1/4 so we can plane it down as well. The top rail has to be 3 inches to accommodate the sliding barn door hardware, of course. So let's take this on over to the planer and plane it. We're going to take these rails that we cut for these shelves and we're going to install them to finish out the front of these stationary shelves. Figure out our face frame for this cabinet. Okay, now we know the dimensions of our carcass are 57 long by 34 and a half high. Okay, now on these outside edges here, you're going to want that face frame to have a reveal. You're going to want it to overhang the cabinet on this side and this side about 1/8 of an inch. So collectively 1/4 inch. We're going to make this dimension here 57 1/4. Okay. Now we need to figure out. Now obviously your two stiles out here, they're going to be the height of the cabinet, exactly the height of the cabinet. So these two are going to be 34 and a half, okay? Now, to get this dimension for this rail, top rail here, we have to take 57 and a quarter, and our two stiles out here are 2 inch. So we're going to minus 4 inches, 2 here and 2 here, from the 57 and a quarter. So we're going to end up with 53 and a quarter for this dimension here, which also translates to your bottom rail being exactly the same thing, 53 and a quarter, okay? Now, as far as our dividers here, our stiles in the middle here, okay, we got 34 and a half overall, but we're going to minus this 3 inch rail and this 2 inch rail, which is 5 inches, okay? If you take 5 away from 34 and a half, that gives you 29 and a half. Okay, so there's our pieces. There's what we need to cut up. We have all our dimensions here. We'll cut that up and then we'll put some pocket holes in them, and I'll show you how I assemble my face frames. Okay, we're going to assemble the face frame to our sliding barn door kitchen island. All right, we're going to take our 2 outside stiles, and you're going to want to make sure that the bad side is facing you, because you're actually looking at the back side of the face frame, okay? We're going to go ahead and put one there. We'll put this one down just now. Okay, and then we have our bottom rail, again, rough side facing me, and we'll slide that right in here like that. And this works out really well. I love using a driver. Very rarely do I actually use a drill. I just love the drivers, and fortunately, you know, it sits right in here like that. So, and the clamps I just pop right there. Okay, so what we're going to do here, make sure these are sitting nice and flat against the bottom here and against the side. We'll take a little glue, put a little glue here just to help it. You could put these together without glue, but you know, it's a little added security. And we're going to slide that over here like that. I have a pair of these clamps here. These are made by Miles Craft. Really nice, a little bit more affordable than Craig. And I'm going to do this right here and clamp that in place, just like that. Grab me a couple screws, grab my driver, and run them in, just like that. It really is that easy. Okay. Now we're going to jump down here. We're going to jump down here, and we're going to put this side together. Seeing how this is already here, and we don't have glue on that, we'll put glue on this. Okay? Put that next to there. Grab our clamp, that's already screwed together. Make sure these are flush and flat. We'll clamp on there. Grab a couple screws. Just like that. Okay, and there you have it. And this face frame took me all of 10 minutes to put together like this. And I'm telling you, look at that joint. Look at that joint right there, and that's glued and pocket hole. You will not pull that joint apart. This is the way to make face frames. It's fast, it's strong, it's efficient. Okay, now that we have our face frame assembled, we are going to attach the face frame to our carcass. Okay, set this to the side for now. First thing I'm going to do is grab my large square and just kind of go around it and make sure that we're as close as we can be to square. Now when we glue and brad nail the face frame on here, it'll correct itself more or less and be square, but you know, there's no point in starting way off if you can avoid it. That looks pretty good right there. We're pretty square. Okay, now what we're going to do is take our glue and we're going to run a bead of glue all the way around this thing. Put you a nice heavy bead, not too heavy. You don't want it squirting out and running down the cabinet, but you want there to be a good amount of glue on there to hold that face frame. Brad nails, they do a lot of holding themselves, but the glue is also helping to hold that face frame on there a good bit. Okay, now you want to grab your face frame, get as close as you can by eye, and just kind of lay down on there. I'm going to flush out the bottom, and I want to make sure I got that 1/8 inch reveal on both sides, okay? Okay, so I got my brad nailer, I've got this set on here, and what I did is I flushed it out with the bottom here, okay? And then I made sure that I have the 1/8 inch reveal even all the way down from here to there. I don't care what this looks like at the moment, because once I get that nailed down across there, I'll be able to take that frame and move that frame, and what that's going to do is it'll actually pull that carcass into square. Okay, see how I got that nailed down all the way across there? And I flush here. Now when I start shifting that frame that way, it's going to bring that carcass into square. It more or less forces it to be square. Looking pretty good. Out of brads. Nice and flush, nice and square. Come right here to the last side. squared up. Like that. Of course, you'll throw some brad nails down the middle here to attach it to your divider. Just like that.